Welcome back to another episode of Any Speed. It's actually roughly 6 minutes past the end of the last video, which the last video went over a week because I waited a week to let the tank dry out. And I just finished shooting that video, but I had to stop because I don't want these videos to get an hour or 2 hours long, because for whatever reason people seem to like them a little shorter, and then you can just watch multiple videos. So I'm trying to do it in segments. If you like them longer, if you like to just sit down and chill and watch an hour, hour and a half, 2 hour long video, well, let me know in the comments, and I'll modify my behavior, because I want to do what you all want to do. I'm going to be out here doing this stuff anyway, but if I can make y'all happy when I'm doing it, that's better, right? So anyhow, what we're going to do today, at least for most of the day, and if I get further ahead, great, with the plan, which never seems to work out, but the plan is to get everything underneath the car done. I'm going to get the drive shaft put in, I'm going to get the starter put in, I'm going to get the Z-bar slash torque tube put in, and get everything functioning. And I might even, since the car's still on the lift, I might even try to hook up the other side of the exhaust. Six-cylinder only had one side, and we got ourselves a pretty cool muffler on there, so I've got another pair over here, but rather than change both, I'm going to change just one. And hopefully the sound difference isn't too bad. I didn't even look to see which one this is, but this is a budget project, so I'm just going to stick a muffler. I've actually got a couple of complete exhausts off an A-body Mopar. We're going to do A-body stuff again. I'm going to see if it'll fit. If it does, Yahoo, we'll put some more Mopar parts in our AMC. If it doesn't fit, we have a welder, and we have a saw, and we have a torch. We can make it happen, right? That's what we do. We make it happen. So let's see where we're going to go with that. That is the plan for today. It's fairly early. I've pretty much got this whole weekend to get this thing going. So if y'all keep watching these videos, hopefully boom, 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 and we're going to hear this thing run and drive. So hang in there. Let's get started. This is the bushing I made that I talked about in the last video when we were talking about doing the clutch and everything. I needed a bushing because it was a little plastic bushing. It was all busted up. Here's the torque shaft. Bushing goes on there. Everything's happy-dory. If you'll notice, it won't go on this way. I did that on purpose. So it'll go in and it'll kind of hold the bushing in. So that's kind of the program at the moment. First of all, I've got to see if it'll fit in the hole. So let's do that. And it's just like I wanted it. It's a little bit snug. If you actually could see the hole is actually elongated a tiny bit to where the bushing was worn out and the shaft was starting to cut a groove. So this is just right. It's a little bit snug, so I'm going to get a hammer and I'm going to gently tap it in. I don't like to brag, but I'll tell you what, that bushing fit in that hole about as perfect can be. And it's just the right length. If it was any longer, it would be hitting the frame. I'm mighty proud of myself on that. I might have to get you all a close-up of that. But anyway, it's just a bushing in a hole, so I won't go on and on about that. But I'm pretty pleased with that. And now I've got to try to find the bracket that bolts up here, and we got to put that on there with the actual torque shaft. Here's the bracket I was looking for. It took like 2 seconds for you guys. It actually took me a few minutes to find it because I got it buried under a bunch of tools and stuff I've been working on. But here's the torque shaft. This is the other end of the torque shaft. This is the end that goes into the piece we just made. And then this is the one that goes into this. And it just kind of slides over. And it's actually pretty snuggish. So I'm not going to... Let's see, we got to get her in there. Oh, maybe if I put it in the right way, it wouldn't be so snug. Trying to put it in that way, doesn't work. There we go. Put it in there. Okay, there we go. It's not snug at all. Okay. All right. So that goes in there, and it's got, play. So you don't have to be, if I'm a little off on that bushing, we're good to go. This ends up, and I'm at good head banger level. I'm whacking my head on the exhaust. We're going to stick this up in here. And I don't know why I'm doing it, because I don't have the bolts for this piece yet. We're going to go ahead and put her in there. This goes this way. There, that's in. This is in, and oh, look at that. Look at that, baby. Look at that. Woohoo! And this will go here. All right, once I put my springage and stuff on there. So let me go locate the 2 bolts that go here. Oh, come on, don't fall out on me. Don't be like that. Yep, there we go. And they'll go in there like so. See if I get it to stay. Nope, I'll have to find the bolts. It's all got to go together at once. So here we go. Let's try one more time, this time with a loaded rifle. Got the bolts in my hand. Got all the parts we need. If I can get it to untangle itself. And she goes into the bushing. Up into the doohickeys. With the bolt. Here's one. This one's not so easy to get to. There we go. Now there's a series of springs here that actually hold this to the against the fork. There we go. Come on, you. There it is. And it's snug up against that bushing, so I really... Oh, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. Oh, boy. Okay. Not awesome. I'm going to have to put a shim in here to push everything that way and keep it intact with that bushing. Since I was unable to actually get the camera in there while I was doing it, here's this one. You can see there's hardly any play in there, just a little bit. And then there's that bushing that I put in. It's bronze. It's oil impregnated bronze, so it doesn't need to be greased. This side has the regular bushing in it. It's just a plastic bushing, so I did grease it. There's the 2 bolts I was wrestling with. There's the adjuster. I put the adjuster on there. There's like 4 springs on that thing when I took it off, but now that I see how it works, she's right up against here, so I don't really need to put any more. I put 1 spring on there, but I don't even think I need that. because it's not going anywhere. So that's pretty much it. I didn't show y'all throwing the starter in because it was pretty straightforward, and I kind of just stuck it up in there before I turned the camera on, and before I knew it, it was done. So I didn't show you that. I hope y'all ain't too mad about that, but it's literally 2 bolts that slid right in. It was uneventful. But this on the other hand was an event. This is a piece of hose. The fuel the fuel pump is here on this engine, and the fuel pump was here on the other engine. So I've got this hose coming off of that line out of the gas tank, and I could have just run this under here like this and done a mashugana job, but I decided to bend a line. And let me tell you a little story about bending a line. It was fun. No, it wasn't. But I've got it here, and it hooks to a little hook right here. I don't know if you all can see that little hook, but there's a little hook right here, and it hooks in there, boop, and then it goes in here on this. And let me get my clamp on there first, and that way I don't have to wrestle with it. And I always decide which way I want the clamp. Do I want it this way? Yeah, I think we'll go that way. So you just kind of taking this and wiggling it on there. Oh, what I didn't show you, let me take it back out again, is never stick a hose like this on a line without flaring the end. You'll see I put a little flare. Now the flare cracked, not a big deal. If it was having to seal against something, yeah. But this flare is just simply to keep the hose from popping off. If you look back on a couple of my videos, I actually put some compression fittings on transmission lines because somebody did just that. They put a rubber hose to a line, put a clamp on it with no flare. Now they could have flared it, and it probably would have held for forever, or for at least as long as the hose lasted. But this is fuel, and the last thing I want is fuel dumping all over the front of the engine and getting back and maybe getting on the exhaust, and poof, there goes the car. So put a little flare on the end, just like so, and you can put your hose over that, and that will be your salvation, shall we say. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back into the little clippy thingy here, and then put this. 2 hours and 15 minutes later, I find the clamp. No, I'm just kidding. It actually wasn't that long. It actually took me, I don't know, a few minutes. And now this doesn't want to go in. Okay. So let's go ahead and get you on here. There. New hose, or newish hose. And I probably should have put this the other way because now, this is why we do things. I know you're going to think I'm nuts, but the reason I flipped the clamp around is if I had it this way, it's up against here, and I'd be trying to wrestle it, from this side. Whereas this way, I can get to the clamp easy peasy. So you want to build for the future. Sooner or later, if not sooner, we'll be taking this fuel pump off. This is probably one of the few projects you'll ever see me do where I'm actually keeping the mechanical fuel pump. I absolutely despise mechanical fuel pumps. So, to watch me do this, you are seeing a phenomenon that's not normal for me. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cut this line right about here and put that one in. I wasn't going to change on the oil, but to get at this hose here, I had to move the oil filter out of the way. This is coming off the chassis and going to the gas tank. This is that line I just made. Here's the little hooky thing that was already there. And then we go follow the line, and then we have, it on the fuel pump right here. So if we follow it, I'm going to get this light so it's doing something. Here we go. So follow the line, and the hooky thing, and it goes into the chassis. So that's pretty much the whole ball of wax on that one. And I didn't necessarily show you all of that because it was, I had to kick the camera over for sure. Basically, it's just trying to bend this line so that it's, you know, out of the way and get her hooked up. That was that. And I'm going to change on the oil after I pulled that filter. The oil just reeked of fuel, gas. So even though it looked clean, it's obviously polluted with gas. So we're going to go ahead and fix on that. Alright, now this has to be cut off and made flush. And I had to dent this over here to clear. But I think we've pretty much got this on here. And bang my head, that was 9,338, I think, on that one. So I've banged my head 9,000 times already at least. So, alright, I'm going to get a lot of this crap out of my way. She should hold herself. And then we'll, golly, can't see nothing. And then we'll snip this little bit off here. What I'm going to use for a ground, I don't know. But we're going to snip that off and finish this up. Well, I came into a problem. Of course, it's never good. But if you look, she's ready for church. She's holy. See light through there? Yeah. And I need this piece. This is the flange that goes up against the exhaust manifold. And I guess I could just go to an exhaust shop and have one made, but we just don't do things like that around here. So, here's my plan. I've got, where'd I put it? Well, I've got tons of it. But I'm using this old exhaust pipe, which I haven't told you where this came from yet. This actually came from, I believe it came from a 72 Charger with 340. So it was a pretty new exhaust. She's solid. Heavy exhaust pipe. Might even be stainless, I don't know. But this goes inside of here, sort of, kind of, a little bit. No, it really does. I had it, or it could go in there. I've had it in there before. Let's try this piece. Okay, maybe not, but, well, I guess it will. Probably will. It's got a little ridge on it. But I did buy a piece. I did buy a piece. And nope, it's the same size. It goes in, trust me. Might need a little hammering, but it'll go in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in there, and I'm going to put her all the way up to the neck. I'll show you when I do it. I'm going to put it all the way up to the neck, because what I found out is this is heavy stuff. Man, it's heavy. It's probably like a fence post or something. It works. But it goes over. So if I push this all the way up against the flange, I'll make sure this is good and square to do so, and then weld it in, then I should be able to make it happen. That's the plan. So watch me as I try to get this to go on there. lot of footage I could get on this exhaust, but there's the tailpipe so far. She's ending right here at the edge of the tank. I've got to make a piece to go around here and then out, like over here, same thing. So that's where I'm at now. I've got the exhaust pipe in, muffler, and then pretty much matches all the way down. And then I made my little doohickey here. Oops, it's a little dark. You light up my life. There we go. Okay, I made that. And then it goes up into there, up against the engine. And so that's pretty much the exhaust. Now she's got two. I did make this one a little too high. She's almost right up against the floor. I'm going to have to remedy that somehow. I needed to spin this just a tiny bit. But it's a little late now. I've welded everything, so I'll have to find another way to rotate that slightly. But got a clampage here. Right here, I got it hooked to the transmission mount, and I've got another clamp up there. I don't know if you can see that or not. But it on the actual shock tower. Let's see if we can get a better view. There you go. Got it on the shock tower. There we go. That's pretty much the exhaust there, folks. I got it stopped here because I've just plumb run out of time. And so I've still got to make a little piece, just a tailpipe. Just a little tailpipe. And that shouldn't be too terribly difficult. Unfortunately, I won't bring you along on the tailpipe trip. And you didn't get to see a lot of this going on because there's just so much calamity, if you will, that I just wasn't able to get good footage. I don't know how much of this footage is going to be really very good because a lot of it is just clambering and welding and fitting, and I can't even, mosquitoes, and I couldn't get a lot of good footage on that because I was taking up so much space. I don't have a cameraman. I'm just small time, so I've got a little tripod and my camera kind of sits there, and half the time I get in the way and can't see what's going on. This was daunting, to say the least. Don't have a tubing bender. Sold the tubing bender not that long ago so that I could buy this 4-post lift. Now I need the tubing bender, but we've been able to do it without it. I just kind of took two exhausts. I took actually the exhaust off of a satellite. A charger, a 72 charger that we have out here in the back that we're parting out. And I took the exhaust off it because it looked like it was heavy duty stainless. It is. It's pretty heavy duty pipe. And as you probably saw in the thumbnail and what have you, there's just a whole bunch of pipe laying everywhere. So I cut it all up and I kind of just tried that. It won't come out. Put things kind of cattywampus and then just welded them just to make them work because there was no way to make. But I took elbows and things that I already had and just kind of used what I had. I'm going to do the same with the tailpipe. I'm just going to, just keep cutting little elbows and stuff until I get what I want. And probably put one more hanger in for the tailpipe. But she's in there good and solid. I wish she wasn't quite so, and actually I might be able to, it's pretty much ain't gonna go nowhere. Work on that a little bit. Because I don't have the donut gasket in there yet either. So I'm gonna have to take everything loose, get everything the way it's going to be, and I may have to make some adjustments. We'll find out. Because I do have her a little too close to the floor, and I wish I had turned that muffler just a tiny bit more. But it is what it is. This is my way of doing an exhaust system since I do not have a tubing bender anymore. And I may end up, if she clinks and clatters and rubs against the floor and causes all sorts of havoc, I might have to pay somebody to fix it. But at least I can start her up, run it, drive it, see if she's going to fire up. So I could do that now because I don't have a tailpipe, but I can live without a tailpipe. But I'll probably finish it up next weekend, and then we'll finish up the stuff on the top, get this thing running, hopefully next weekend. Anyway, folks, I'm enough of talking. Let's conclude this, so I'm going to end it. Before I end it, don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, why not? You got to subscribe, please. Helps me out. So please subscribe. That's my way of saying please subscribe. And if you enjoyed it, if you like these videos, if you don't, man, this is getting too long. Let me edit. Quit. Try this again. If you like my videos, do me a favor and subscribe. Yeah, that's better. And don't forget, if you didn't like the video, just don't watch them.